Hey guys, Shiggy here, right here, G Unit. Welcome to another GTA 5 gameplay commentary. Today we're going to be discussing about drifting and potential ideas in the future for GTA 5. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for all the suggestions on the previous GTA 5 content that I posted for all the cars that you guys wanted to see. The highly demanded ones were the Toyota Supra and quite a few supercars as well. So the Toyota Supra is definitely being looked at by the devs. It's pretty sick to have another sort of drift car. And on that sense, today I wanted to sort of talk about drifting in general and is it beneficial in the game at the moment. Of course, it's not technically drifting because the car doesn't have any momentum shifts around corners after doing a sort of a drift, I suppose. This is a example of it. It's sort of like a power slide in a sense if you want to go to technicalities, but it would be pretty cool if they had a separate game type, sort of a ranked sort of themed or based game type, which, you know, is an interesting thing we could talk about because ranked matches in general where you can sort of have set rules for in a set sort of fixed settings for each game type. So you can have ranked non-contact, no catch-up, no slipstream match, or you can have a ranked drift match. So sort of like a drift option they can maybe add in where it's a specific game type, but you have to only play that for yourself to sort of drift around every corner. You know, there is a sort of a glitch or I think a mod or whatever that people use to drift continuously, sort of slide about or whatnot. I'm not a huge fan of that, but if they had that sort of in a game type as a setting where you can pretty much drift around every corner, which actually benefits you, sort of, you know, being able to control the car. You know, whoever's the most sort of skilled drifter, I suppose, will win the race or whatever, or sort of have a track based around that. It could definitely work because one thing I noticed with drifting, you know, in this game you require, with, you know, particular with the Felter and quite a few other cars, you can do it easily, but it's only specific to certain cars in the game, and the roads that you have to use in order for you to successfully do this needs to be really wide for you to get the open line, or so that wide line in order for you to drift around sharp corners. The only sort of beneficial thing about this is that if you're in a normal sort of environment like these sort of races where there isn't really drifting, sort of power slides, and people are obviously taking corners normally, it can only benefit you with the wide roads. You can't do it in narrow roads, of course. You don't have that much space or, you know, that line to pull it off. Especially, you know, in a narrow road situation where there's a tight corner, you definitely won't be able to drift around that. You'll most likely go wide, understeer so much into the sides. So, if you saw the examples at the start of the video, I successfully was able to do a few drifts, but it's really difficult to pull it off, and of course there's a risk there as well, especially in a racing environment where if you do fail to do it, quite often you'll go spinning off or crashing into the sides or completely losing your position. But the good thing about it is that with wider roads, most of the drifts you saw there at the start is with wide roads and sharp corners. Quite often you will be able to close the gap with whoever's in front on a straight around the corner, because quite often in a sharp corner people have to brake a lot. But with the right line, with the right road and a sharp corner, if you use the amount of, you know, an appropriate speed on the drift, of course, you can easily close the gap, and with the momentum that you get with the drift, you don't slow down too much compared to braking. So quite often, you know, you see me close the gaps, but it's useful, but it's so risky at the same time. In a normal, as I said, in a normal environment like this, it's not useful to drift. It's very situational, in my opinion. I've tried it a few times and I've failed many times, then succeeded. So you're probably seeing right now, you know, I pretty much showed you all the successful drifts I've done, or the power slides. You know, I promise you I've played, I've freaking failed way too many times. You can see my live streams if you want to. I pull it off sometimes. You know, it's a great feeling when you do, because quite often in situations where there's a lot of cars together and you can pull off the drift and manage to avoid the other cars, you can get that extra sort of momentum and lead around the corner with that sort of speed compared to other cars. They have to completely brake and go down to second gear. So with the drifting, you sort of stay on the third, fourth gear, depending on how fast you drift around that corner and how you can keep your car stable. The cars that you can do it easily, of course, the Futo, the Felter is another one that's absolutely amazing for sports. You can do it for some extent with the Entity, but this car, obviously, it's not really necessary because you can easily just take a corner really fast anyway. So what's the point of drifting? But if you saw one of the examples with the Entity there, I suppose it was alright, but it was so risky at the same time. I was so close to clipping the fence. But in a way, I sort of got away with the cars at the start there. Sort of the first corners of the races are pretty useful if you want to do it, especially in non-contact situations. Obviously, it's really risky to do it in contact situations. Just right around the corner. Tuesday is obviously next week, so expect to see a lot of tense racing. But if you I don't know, I just thought it would be a really good idea to have a separate game type, sort of ranked game type, specifically for drifting with tracks that are built with a lot of corners, a lot of sort of corners that are, you know, come consecutively one after each other, and sort of see who can actually do it. Because I think definitely with that sort of slide glitch they've had, you know, I've not tried it myself. I think it's a cheat or whatever, but I don't know what it is. But I've seen people doing YouTube videos and whatnot. It seems like it's doable in a racing environment, you know, drift racing and whatnot. Because there's a lot of, you know, there's huge fans out there to do with drifting. I don't know, let me know what you guys think about this idea. It's a fun thing to do. Try it out for yourselves. If you're not taking racing seriously, you can always do it for bant and attempt to do it. It's at the moment it's so difficult to do it. Like it requires, you know, the timing, the perfection around that corner, because especially in a tight corner, you've got a wide road to play with. But even if you miss time it slightly, a slight inch, your car could literally clip the apex of the corner, or just literally clip the outer side of the corner, and you go flying. So it happens a lot, you know, especially, you know, you're going so fast around it with that sort of drift. I mean, from another point of view, if you look at a car trying to attempt to drift around a corner and perfects it, it looks absolutely beautiful. You literally, I believe you can make amazing montages out of drifts on this game, because it's just one of those things that looks cool, but it could be said as a placebo effect of in a way in which, you know, sort of makes you look you know, like going faster and whatnot, but technically you're not. It's the same thing. But then again, I personally feel that in certain corners, in certain situations, if I time the drift right, I for some reason get extra momentum around the corner compared to someone that's braking normally around the corner. But as I said, this only applies to wider roads with sharp corners coming up, and it doesn't work in every situation, because certain roads with narrow roads approaching a corner, you're sort of forced to brake. You can't really drift, because if you do an inside corner in narrow roads, quite often you'll understeer all the way to the other side, and it's not beneficial. Quite often when the cars brake normally and take the inner line from the outer line, it's so much easier that way. So anyway, in this race you can see sort of made a comeback, managed to recover from that awful start. You know, it is what it is, but you know, all of this is going to be changed sometime around you know, around the corner. If you guys got any sort of ideas or any sort of suggestions that we've missed out, then feel free to let me know in the comments, as I'm still talking to the dev right now. He's pretty much read through majority of the comments of the previous video that I asked for suggestions, so it's cool that, you know, they check out the videos and stuff where people comment and stuff. Of course, there's, you know, you contact them through email and whatnot. They apparently read every single email that they receive for suggestions as well. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts about drifting in this game. Is it doable? Is it manageable? You know, in case you're wondering how to do it, it's pretty much hitting the handbrake for a millisecond and letting go and controlling everything else with your analog stick and your speed. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys soon. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys leave a like, and yeah, check your son out. Good night, peace. Yeah. Curry powder straight from Sri Lanka, Jaffna. See, it's the Jaffna special, you know, Sri Lankan.